welcome back. And today, of course, as we earlier said in our intro, we're going to be shedding light over Egypt's participation in FITOUR 2023, the International Tourism Exhibition and a fair that was held in Madrid. I'm very delighted to be having with us live over the phone the tourism expert and consultant, Dr. Yehya Abdul. Good morning, Dr. Yehya.
Good morning.
How are you doing, sir?
Fine, alhamdulillah.
As we know that FITOUR is the global meeting point for tourism professionals and the leading trade fair for inbound and outbound markets in Latin America in general. And we're going to be talking about that in detail, why exactly is Latin America. But this is the third round, right?
Yes.
Of course, this is the third round. Observing the situation, this particular fair is focusing mainly on Spanish-speaking nationals and countries, and also about Latin Americans and Spanish people. So give us a briefing about it.
FITOUR is one of the leading travel exhibitions on a global scale, annually held in Madrid, and ranked third, like it comes after the ITB Berlin and the World Travel Market in London. So this year, there is over 130 countries participating and represented by over 9,000 stakeholders. World hotel corporations, tour operators, world airlines, cruise ships, government tourist offices for promotion, world media and travel associations as well. So really, it's an international one, but Spain has strong ties, like with Latin America, historically. That's why this European, travel show is the gateway to Latin America, as you already expressed. That's true.
Right. So it is gathering Latin American countries, and of course, when we talk about Latin American countries, also we should have in mind or keep in mind that those particular countries, they have a good experience when it comes to tourism. Though that they do not possess monuments, they do not possess a lot of history, but they are professionals when it comes to promotion, tourism promotion, and new innovative ideas. And we can mention some of the most beautiful destinations you can visit in Venezuela, you can visit in Mexico, Cancun, which is the most popular in the United States to spend the spring vacations at. You can spend other vacations in Puerto Rico, for example, and each has its different taste. How is Egypt going to benefit from this participation? Attracting the Latin American market?
Well, actually, His Excellency Mr. Ahmed Isa, Minister of Tourism and Equities, during the exhibition, he met his counterpart at the Spanish Tourism Authority, Minister of Tourism, and they signed, like an MOU, a Memorandum of Understanding, for both countries and destinations to exchange travel and to enjoy as well technical cooperation between Egypt and Spain. And last year we had nearly over 250,000 Spanish visitors, and currently we're having direct 12 flights from Spanish destinations to Luxor, and of course scheduled flights to Egypt. So really Spain, like for Egypt throughout this important exhibition is the main target. But as well, like as I said already, that Spain is a gateway to Latin America, and there is two ways to do this, to promote it through Spain, because millions of Latin Americans, like there is over 33 countries between Central and Latin America, and they go to annually to Spain. So Spain like is 5 hours flight, like to Egypt, and as well they go to the Italy and Rome and the Vatican every year. So I've been a tourist counselor in Los Angeles, and I was working with associations and organizations in Latin America to promote this route. So this is the way really to attract, passionate travelers from Latin America, that they go to Spain, Italy, and Egypt as well.
How's Egypt participation in that particular round, the third round of the FITUR 23? What shape of
Well,
participation?
yeah, Egypt really is having a sophisticated and very attractive pavilion where, like replicas of Egyptian antiquities are displayed. And as well, there is a model of the Grand Egyptian Museum on display because, like world travelers and media and travel associations, they are waiting for lining up for the opening of the Grand Egyptian Museum at the pyramids and Giza necropolis. So there was representation of Luxor, and that's why this direct flights is going to be from Spain to Luxor weekly. And as well, Governor of Sharm el-Sheikh, Mr. Khalid Fouda, was there, and he was promoting, like the resorts as well. So it has been an attractive show, and lots of visitors. And the our minister, like Mr. Ahmed Isa, held a press conference, and there was as well presentations, and there were Egyptian tour operator, hotel corporations, airlines. It was a great, pavilion for Egypt to display, and they were holding gala dinner, pre and post exhibition tours, travel awards. So the Egyptian pavilion and the professional tour operators and hotelier were really highly, welcomed at this international travel show.
Right. What is the future of Latin American tourism in Egypt, and how do you expect the perfect season for Latin Americans to come over and visit Egypt?
Well, this is currently, the strategy, that the Ministry of Tourism is conducting to promote, Latin American travel through, charter flights, because rescheduled flights, has limited capacity. And they need, to get channels because, flying to Brazil and Argentina is like over 15 hours flight. So the best way to do this is through, a third party, which is Spain in Europe, France, UK and Italy specifically, because as we know, Spain and France, they exchange the top ranks of world travelers by 70 and 80 million per year. And a good, portion of this travel volume and international air flows, they are Latin Americans who love to come to Egypt, and they have lots of museums all over there. And because there's a great resemblance between ancient Egyptian civilization and the Incans and the Mayans, both the civilization, they worshipped, the solar power, and they appreciated it. So there are strong ties between, Latin America and Egypt from a heritage, both tangible and intangible, on a wide scale.
Are there expected favorite places that could be focused by the Latin American tourists to visit?
Yes, there's great resemblance between Spanish and Latin Americans. Spanish visitors.
Of course, there is a lot of difference, but I'm talking about the Latin Americans, South America.
Yes.
The culture, this very warm culture, which is somehow similar to the Italian culture and some of our cultures, but they prefer a different atmosphere.
Definitely, yes. As I say, the similarity between both, if we talk about Spanish visitors, they are cultural visitors. They like Luxor and Aswan, Cairo, Saqqara, Alexandria, Necropolis. For example, we have visitors coming from Europe. They are, they like resorts and beaches, especially, in the cold winter they have, and they come here in warm times. But Latin American visitors, they are not going to fly 15, 16 hours, to come to a beach, because they have great lakes, rivers, both Atlantic and Pacific. So they are cultural tourists, in the first phase, and we have to develop and work on this through, for example, we are on loan sending the sarcophagus of Ramesses II to Paris because they have an exhibition of the Golden Pharaohs. As well, we are sending Islamic artifacts to Jeddah because they have the Binali, in Jeddah this time of the year. So we have to work on culture, bases and foundations with Latin America because this is their major attraction to visit any country, especially Egypt with its tangible and intangible heritage, archaeology, and civilization.
Yes, of course. And as we know that the Ministry of Tourism is bringing every day or coming up every day with new innovative ideas and campaigns and inspirations when it comes to museums, when it comes to touristic programs that is coping with the momentum and with the situation worldwide. It is very obvious. This in addition to our usual old-fashioned programs, tourism programs. So do you think there could be some partnership or exchange of expertise and experiences between the two countries?
Yes, definitely, because as we know, the UN World Tourism, like organization is based in Madrid, and I worked in many countries that they've been using the expertise of the WTO, like under the Spanish government, especially in tourism, to upgrade, like its status and facilities and create more demand. So definitely that's why His Excellency Minister of Tourism spent, like few days, like attending, like the Fitur and making contacts. He made presentation with the airlines, like international airlines, with tour operators, with tour corporations and investors as well. So Egypt is getting very promising, and look, yesterday we had this great concert, like held at the Grand Egyptian Museum. This is one the world expects and awaits all the time, and we had, like fashion designers at the great museum. We had them in Luxor as well. So all these events supported by our success, like our sports squad in handball, in fencing, in squash, in tennis, athletics. So really that, like upgrade and improve the image, like of Egypt as a civilized destination and attractive location worldwide.
Right. Dr. Yehya Abdul would like to thank you so much talking to the Breakfast Show. And I guess by this we come to the end of this edition of today's Breakfast Show. Many thanks to all of you. Until we see you again tomorrow morning. That's a goodbye.